Hello, I'm Ewan from Riversdale.
And I'm Nicholas, and I'm also from Riversdale.
And we're from Riversdale. Hello, Richard. Thank you for letting us interview you today. Hey, what is a typical day like at Facebook?
Well, thanks very much, Ewan and Nicholas, for letting me speak to you. Facebook's a funny company because our boss is 27. So I'm like one of the oldest people at Facebook. 27 may seem quite old, but for running a big business, it's pretty young. Most of the people I work with are young. They're fun. We have snacks in our office as much as we like. These are all the important things that make us go to work in the morning. And most of the day, what we're doing really is just trying to make sure that the whole service keeps running for all the people who use it. Because if you think about it, all the way around the world, there's people using Facebook. So any time of day, different people are using it. And we have to make sure the whole thing keeps up and running and that everybody is safe on the service and is able to use it properly.
Okay. Are you on Facebook? Who are your friends and what do you use it for?
So I'm on Facebook. In fact, I work in one of probably the few places where I get paid to use Facebook every day. And we all do. And I mainly use it for keeping in touch with my family and my friends who live in different places. And I think that's the most usual way. So I have like a cousin who lives in America. And I never used to be able to chat to him or know what was happening in his life. And now I can see that because he posts on Facebook as well. I have friends all over the place. And as you get older, your friends tend to move around a lot. So I can stay in touch with them, congratulate them if they have a baby or if they get married or something happens in their lives. I can be friends with them when bad things happen in their lives and try and help them. And that's my normal daily use.
Okay, that's good. You recently introduced face recognition. Why did you do it? And what are the benefits?
So what happens on Facebook is lots of people go around and take lots of pictures. And I don't know if you have like digital cameras now, but people take hundreds and hundreds of pictures with digital cameras and then they upload them to Facebook. And then we have a thing where you can go around and tag people. So if I took lots of photos of Ewan, I can say this is a photo of Ewan or a photo of Nicholas. And that way you get a notification to say the photo of you is up there. Now, doing that with hundreds of photos is really boring. So the facial recognition technology is a way to say, look, if I've uploaded 20 photos of you before, then the system knows what you look like. And so if I upload another 20 photos of you, it can suggest to me, hey, are these all photos of you? And I say yes if they are or no if they're not.
Okay.
So that's why it's there, to make it easier to say that these are photos of a particular person when you put them on the site.
Okay, thank you. What do you intend to do with the images?
So the images that people put on Facebook belong to them. So the way it works is I have my Facebook profile and I can upload albums of photos of my friends and my family and everybody else. All those are my images stored on Facebook, but they belong to me. I can delete them anytime I like. I put them up, I take them off when I choose to do so. So we don't do anything except store them for those people and then display them when people want us to display them. So when they want to share them with their friends or share them with some family.
Okay, Nicholas?
What would you tell people who are concerned about the images will be used?
Well, what we'd say is you're in control of your own images. So we understand the concerns. I think people worry that, you know, all those images could go to somebody else and that other person may not have good intentions. They may want to use the images in ways that are not in your interests. So what we'd say to them is, look, we, Facebook, will keep them safe. We'll keep them in your profile. So they're just used for things that you want to use them for. And we'll give you the ability to control them and delete them when you want to. And people just, in a way, they have to trust us that we're a good company and we're going to do that properly for them. That on the internet, you get lots of different services. Some you can trust, some you can't. And, you know, we have to prove that we're one of the ones you can trust.
I'm not naming names, but I know someone younger than me who's on Facebook. And how do you make sure this doesn't happen?
So what we do is when you sign up to Facebook, we ask you to give us your date of birth. And if you're not aged at least 13, when you put your date of birth in there, then we refuse to accept your registration. So the only way people can come onto Facebook if they're under 13 is really to tell a lie. They have to lie about the age they are to get on there. And of course we say to people, don't do that. We don't want anyone to do that. If they do it and they get onto the service by lying about their date of birth and we find their account, we'll close it down. So our rules are pretty clear. You need to be 13 to use the service today. Please don't come on if you're not. And if you do, you risk being closed down if we find that account.
What happens if if a member of family says that it's okay for you
Yeah.
to do an account?
Well, I think it's really important for everything you do on the internet that you discuss it with your parents. So this is not speaking as Facebook, but speaking as a parent. I've got children as well. I think that you should always take really good advice from your parents about what you do on the internet and what you do with phones and what you don't do, because they're the best people to keep you safe. So always talk to them about your use of internet services. As Facebook, we obviously can't approve if you break our rules, but I think as long as you're talking to your parents, that's the most important thing you can do to stay safe.
Okay. Would you ever consider allowing under 13s on Facebook?
Yeah, we've said publicly that there is a debate around that, and we think it's a debate really for everybody in society to think about. I mean, we provide a service today. We think it's appropriate for 13 plus, but you can see with other technologies that over time different groups of people use them. I don't know if you have mobile phones or use mobile phones.
Yes.
Do you know, for a long time people said, well, younger children like yourself shouldn't have mobile phones, and now most parents feel comfortable. So we find with technology that over time people feel more comfortable with younger people using it. And so we're listening to that discussion, but we think it's for everybody. It's for parents, children, everybody to think about, not just Facebook.
Yes. I have a friend who was bullied when playing a game online. What does Facebook intend to do about it?
So there are several things you can do on Facebook. The first thing you can do, if it's happening on our site, is you can report it. And we have now a really good way of reporting called social reporting, which means you can report it to us, and then we may shut down the account of the person doing the bullying. But you can also report it to your parent or a teacher at school if you want them to see what's happening and get them involved. Because if we take the content down, that might fix the immediate problem. But the best way often to fix it is to involve teachers and parents. So that person who maybe is bullying you in real life as well, someone has a good talking to with them and actually gets it really sorted out.
Yes, parents are the best. What is your response to the claims in the Daily Mail today that people are leaving Facebook because of privacy concerns?
So for us, this is a kind of like game that people play a lot of time. They look at the numbers on the site and they always want to tell a story about things going up and things going down. Actually, the numbers are pretty much steady. So someone's found some numbers and they've made a big story out of it. But what we see is our service is still growing. And in a country like Britain, actually, there are so many people on it that it's quite hard to get anybody new, because nearly everybody who's using the internet and wants to use a service like ours is already on. So numbers go up and down a little bit, but we don't see that big story that the newspapers got. And they like writing stuff like that.
Okay, so they're trying to persuade a lie.
No, I wouldn't say, I couldn't possibly say that, but they like to make it sensational. They have this saying that newspapers and generally like bad news, so they like to talk about something sort of as shock horror, some big crisis happening. We don't see it ourselves.
Okay.
So what do you think Facebook will look like in 10 years?
In 10 years, I think it'll be much more part of your daily life. So it'll be much more mobile phones. And I think we see that already. A lot of people use mobile phones much more to access the internet than computers. And I think it'll be more plugged into other things that you do. So maybe gaming devices and things that you're doing with your friends. Facebook will be part of that. And we think that's actually a good thing. So if you go on like a gaming console and you want to play games with other people on the internet, we think it's actually better if you're playing games with people whose identities you know, because they're on a service like ours, than just with random strangers. So we think that's what people are going to want to do with it, is plug in, their set of friends into all these other things that they do in their daily lives.
If I wanted a job, how would I get one?
How do you get a job with us? So I think the main thing is to be really open-minded when you're doing your education. Get a good education, that's the starting point. But be really open-minded about the kind of opportunities you can go in for. So we have lots of people at Facebook. They've done all sorts of different things. Some people are really, really good at English or French or maths or whatever it is. There's no one particular type. But what we want are people who've got a good education, and that usually means doing the things that you're good at and you enjoy. That's where you'll do best. And then is really open-minded about all the opportunities that come to them, really imaginative, and is able to think about new things. That's what we like in tech companies, are people who can think of things that nobody else has thought of before, and that's going to be the brilliant invention that takes off.
Can you give me your top tips for staying safe online?
Yeah. Can I give you 3 top tips for staying safe online? So the 3 top tips are, number 1, always talk to your parents about the things that you do. That's the really important one, or people at school that you trust, teachers and so on. So always make sure you've got somebody else to help give you advice, because however good you think you are at using it, you know, sometimes other people who've been around a bit longer can just give you a second opinion, like that person you thought was okay really is not that okay. The second top tip is use the tools that are on the service and get to know them. So on Facebook, reporting things to us and blocking people is really important. So you can say, when you're old enough to go on Facebook, if you don't want to talk to someone, you can block them and make sure they don't contact you. And I think the third thing that I'd say is be careful about the services you choose. So like lots of things on the internet say, you know, you can get a free ringtone if you sign up for this or that, the other. And there is a thing people say, if something's too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So like if someone's offering you a load of free stuff online, then there's probably some catch to it. So just be careful and choose services that have got a really trusted reputation, and probably they're not going to be ones that seem to be, let's say, too good to be true. Just be really careful about the ones you use.
Thank you for letting us interview.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Very professional.
Oh, before we end, I would like to say one thing. Are you a fan of Manchester United?
I'm not. I'm from Sheffield. People from Sheffield can't be a fan of anything that comes from Manchester, I'm afraid. You are, I take it.
Yeah.
Both of you?
Yeah,
Champions.
Both of you. You didn't switch to Barcelona?
No, even though we got beat.
Now we're all good Europeans, you should be think broader. There's a lot of clubs out there.
Yeah.